Are you struggling to get that lacing effect in your ocean scenes? Well, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the resin you're using. Let me show you how we create this exact effect with our Resi Lace. We are making it easy to create your very own ocean scapes. So let me show you how I make this happen and how easy it can be. Let's cover off what you're going to need for this project to begin with. Firstly, a bit of timber board or something solid that you can do your ocean waves on, preferably not a canvas. Now, the reason we don't like to use canvas is because the resin will sink to the center and you'll get a very uneven surface and it's very hard to level. So a timber board or whatever you want to use, something solid and flat. I've got some old cups that I used mixing up some resin that I've kept aside so that I can lift my project up off the table because I want to do that. And I've got a level that I'm going to level my board with, which I have already done. But if you don't have a level handy, there is a little hack that you can do. You can get your mobile phone, there's an app, a level app that you can buy, or I think it's free. You just download it and then you just pop it on to make sure your board is level. Now just be mindful, it is slightly off, but it's not because my camera's kind of throwing my phone off, so my phone's not 100% level. So just be mindful that this isn't as accurate, but it's a good like backup one to make sure you're level before you go. All right. The other things you're gonna need is your resin. Now, if you've had an issue doing lacing before, Resi Lace is amazing for this. So it has been specially formulated just for this job. That's why it's called Resi Lace, because it's going to give you that selling effect that you really want in your oceans. And today I'm going to use blackish green and magic blue for my colors. I mix these together and I'll show you that in the rundown. I also use our Resi tint, which is a white tint. It's perfect for creating that selling effect. Okay, I also have all the things I need to mix, measure and pour, but let's just get into it and I'll show you how to put this all together. Okay, it's time to mix up, but one thing I did forget to mention that you need to make sure that you have when you're using resin is your nitrile gloves. They're super important for protecting your hands. You'll hear me say it time and time again. So on with my gloves and on with the tutorial. Okay, it's time to mix up our lace. So let's get our 2 parts of lace. It is a 2:1 mixing ratio, just like all our other epoxy resins. We like to keep it simple here at ResiArt. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our part A and we're gonna pour it into the cup. One thing you will notice with our Resi Lace is our part A is actually a lot thicker than any of our other resins that we sell. This is for this technique. So like I said, it's specially formulated for this application, and let's just start mixing. So as I said, it's quite thick. It's a bit like honey, the honey consistency. So be patient and don't get too crazy with it. Give it time to flatten out because it'll kind of like be like a mountain and then it'll flatten out. So just take your time so you don't over pour too much. I'm actually mixing up a fair bit because I'm doing a 30 cm board. Is it like, I think it's slightly satisfying to watch though. Part B is nice and thin, so it's easy to go on top. So it's beautiful that the part A is first. Okay. You can warm this up, like leave it sealed and warm it up and it will flow a little bit better, but I just like to leave it the way that it is. It's not necessary. Okay, so time to go on top with my part B resin. Now that I know that's definitely flat, as you can see, I was in my 2 column, I went up to my 3, so I'm just gonna go into my 1 column now on top to my 3. Like I said, this is not anywhere near as thick, but you still need to be slow and wait for it to flatten out before you add any more, making sure that you're not going to overdo the hardener. The measurement is everything. Get this wrong and your project won't work out. Okay, the next step is to mix this up. So let's mix it. This one I'm going to mix for 4 to 5 minutes. So we will probably come back to you once it's stirred in, but just for the meantime, be mindful. Like I said, it is a bit thick. Really work it together and stir. It will become a bit thinner once the two parts are together, but still thicker than any of our other resins. Scrape those sides, touch that bottom, and I'm going to keep an eye on the time. Okay, so now that our resin is mixed up, it's time to grab our empty plastic cups that we have. I have 4 because I'm going to do 2 types of blue, a clear layer and a white layer. I'll show you how I use them, but I'm just going to divide what we mixed up into the cups. I'm going to put more in the cups that have the blue and the green, and I'm going to put less in the, I just need a little bit of clear and a little bit of white. Yes, it does look really bubbly, and the way that it is, that is normal. That is very normal, and don't freak out. Okay, a little clear and a little white. You can use littler cups if it's a smaller project. I'm just using my big cups today. Because I mixed the 2 parts thoroughly, I can actually make sure to scrape out the bottom, which I don't know what I did with my paddle pop stick. And put it over here. But if you are concerned that your 2 parts aren't mixed thoroughly, don't scrape the bottom, because if the 2 parts aren't mixed correctly, you will have uncured resin in your project. So just stir properly. Okay. Now we're going to grab our tints and we're going to colour our resin. So let's mix in our blues. I'm going to show you how I make a particular colour that I like using magic blue and blackish green. So I actually mix these 2 together. So I'm going to put just blue in this one. I do just blue in this one, but I'm going to do blackish green and blue in this one. So it might seem weird because I'm doing 2 cups that look the same, but they won't be. So blackish green. I'm going to put a bit of it in here. Oops. Powders can be messy. I'm going to just stir them in and see if I want to add any more colour to it. I do like to kind of keep it not too dark because I feel like it gives more of an ocean feel if you kind of keep it a little bit translucent. And I'll show you. Just make sure that all your powder gets mixed all the way through the resin. So you'll see it's not completely opaque. It's a little bit translucent. It's hard to tell, but it is. And that's perfect because when I put it on the board, it gives a really nice, like, watery feel. Now I'm just going to do 1 layer to show you how it works, but you can do multiple layers, letting it cure and doing another layer, to give a bit more depth to your oceans. This is a little bit more stronger, but that's okay because we want a lighter and a darker to give the feel of the deeper part of the ocean and the lighter part of the ocean. So see how adding the blackish green really changed the colour? So I love that. I've got my little bit of clear over here, and then I'm going to grab my white tint. Now with our white tint, when you open this up, I'm going to show you, it may look, you can either you can shake it up first, or it may look like there's a watery, I'm going to show you, it may look like there's a separation between the white and like it's like a little bit watery and then the pigment's down the bottom. That's very normal because it's sat for some time. Just mixing those 2 parts together before I mix it into my resin. So just giving it a stir to bring it back. You can shake your can as well just before you open it as well. just stirring those two parts together just to get a more liquid feel. Once they feel like they're all mixed together, you will be able to tell. Then you can use the little bit of white into your resin to give you your ocean feel. Okay, so all I do is you only need the littlest bit. I just put what's on my stick and mix it in. I don't really add too much. And it will make my resin, this part, really white. And it's perfect. Okay, so I have my 4 cups. I have my blues that I'm going to use for my 2 parts of my board, and then I have my clear and my white. Like I said, I only have a little bit of these 2 because I only need to do like a very thin line, and then they're my blues. So let's get our board back up on the table. All right, so let's set up again. Like I said, I'm using some old cups that I had mixed pigments in to set my board up on. Okay, so we have our board set up, and one thing that I did forget to mention at the very start of this video is an important tool that you're going to use is your handy dandy dryer or a heat gun or something along those lines. It's more about the pressure that it blows out to help with the lacing. So I do have my hairdryer handy. I'm just going to leave that here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give my colors that I mixed up about 20 minutes in the pot before I actually lay them down. This just helps with the lacing and gets you a really nice detail. You can go straight down and do it. You do not have to wait the 20 minutes, but I do like the effect I get. So I am going to wait 20 minutes before I lay down my colors, and I'll come back to you in 20 minutes. It's time to make some waves. We're going to pour down our resin. Just a little side note about my board, it has no coatings on it, so just be mindful when finding timber that if it has some kind of coating on it, you do need to take that off before you put resin on top. But this is just has nothing on top of it, so we're good to go. Let's pour down our resin. Don't stress too much about going into the sides. We're just roughly laying it down because we're going to move it out with our hands and kind of blend it together with our heat gun as well. So don't stress too much, just lay it all down. If you've worked with any of our resins before, you will notice this is a lot thicker than any of the other resins we sell. And that is purely and simply because that's what helps make these beautiful waves. All right, now that was my darker blue, and I'm going to go in with my other blue just in front. Now I'm just doing half the board. You can go deeper and come down all the way, whatever you want to do. I'm using this as my example because you will notice a lot of people when they use like paddle boards or something like that, they'll just do the edge of the paddle. So this gives you a nice idea of how to create that difference. Okay, now I'm going to just use my hands. Can you tell that I don't really want to use my hands, but I'm going to use my hands to just kind of help move it around my board just to fill out to the edges. When I do my heat gun, it's going to blend it as well, but I'm just going to move it out. It does feel kind of cool. Okay. It's okay that the two colours are blending because you kind of want to give that oceany kind of feel. All right. Now that I'm happy with my blues, I'm going to take this glove off and I'm going to get a new one. New glove. And I'm going to clean that little spot, that little speck. Now it's time to grab my clear. This is just the little bit of clear that I've laid over. And what I like to do is I like to kind of be pouring and then follow my blue. So it's already moving as I follow along with my clear. Just like so. I just find that if I let a little bit drip off the side, I get an even flow when I do that method. And I'm just waiting for the clear to kind of touch my blue. I might use a paddle pop stick just to make sure they're kind of touching. Perfect. All right, now for the white, and I do the exact same thing. I'm going to let a little bit drip and then I'm going to follow where I did with my clear line. Slow and steady wins the race, right? I don't want my white line to be too thick, but I do want enough down that I can move my white over and give me my ocean feel. So, like I said, that's why you only have a little bit of the white and the clear. Just going to clean my gloves before I pick up my hair dryer. So, my hair dryer is looking a bit, has seen better days, but I've just got it on my high setting and a hot setting, and I'm just going to turn it on and I'm going to blow. But when I blow, I'm just going to blow down and go along. I'm just going to show you before I go in and do it. So here we go. Let's blow out our waves. Our waves are blown out, and you will naturally see it's already trying to do that kind of selling effect. A little side tip trick that you can use as well is I have some isopropyl alcohol. I'm just going to spritz it on top just to give a little bit more extra of the lacing. And there we have it. I'm no expert at lacing, but that's how easy it is to create your very own lacing board with our Resi Lace. Time to let this cure overnight. Remember, I said you can do layers. So after it cures overnight, you could always come in and do another layer on top to give it a little bit of depth. So there you have it. It's that easy to create those beautiful lacing cells with Resi Lace. So I want to know, are you ready to create waves? And make sure you're subscribed so you get to see our next video. See you next time.